Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan, and this is Manny's Irish Pub Sports Betting Show. I think this is the earliest we've ever convened at the pub. But as my co-hosts know, this is the time of year where we got to get our rest in because pretty soon we're going to be sleeping about 3 hours a night. And we got to take advantage of this time. But it's great to have Jesse Schule and Rob Veno on the show. It's been a while for Rob and I to get together. But the schedules collided today. And we're going to go across a lot of different topics today in a pretty quick hitting fashion, I think. But before we get to the first topic, I just wanted to introduce everybody to Rob Veno of Wager Talk and Jesse Schule of Sports Memo. Rob, how are things going for you these fine days of summer? I know the weather's been hotter than a Vegas parking lot at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's been humid in our area, John. That is for sure. Even days when the sun is not out, you walk outside and you're soaking wet within 30 minutes. So maybe probably less. That's how humid it's been here. We can't seem to get one of these, rainfalls to drive the humidity out. But it is what it is, right? It's the end of July, early August now, so we expect that. But you're right. Preparation for football is huge right now. That's the bottom line for almost all of us at this point in time. Not that baseball is an afterthought. I mean, I think we all wake up every morning and the first thing we do is go to the MLB card looking for plays. But the rest of the day is just football. In my case, for those out there, we talked about this a little bit the other day on Wager Talk today, maybe. But it's a time of year, these, 6 or 7 weeks, where guys like us, if we want a vacation or if we want to do something with our family or with our time, this is when we do it. And so we're not always consistently available to do these shows. I, for one, have had a lot of guests, visitors come in through the house, which has been nice this summer. But, like you say, John, 3 weeks from now, there'll be none of that. So after the old, meet and greet in Las Vegas, it'll be all done with.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Jesse, I was on a show yesterday. We did a show on Sunday, Rob. Can you believe that? We had a new guest on. I guess, right? I have a West Coast exposure now with Josh, and very intelligent guy. Actually, he's a money manager, high net worth clientele, 50 million and above. And he comes to the table similar style to me. We didn't get too much into the nuts and bolts of looking under the hood of his methodologies, but he definitely speaks his mind, right, Jesse?
He does. I think Tony Finn's knocking at the door.
Yeah. Well,
another guy who speaks his mind.
I mean, speaking of guys that speak their mind, Tony
door.
Finn is among the best.
Why is the door locked to the pub?
Why are you still in that casino with nobody in it?
There's plenty of people in here. Ben Simmons, a couple other guys. Got them tied up, handcuffed, so they can't cause any problems. Yeah. Anything Philadelphia. The Philadelphia pretty much sucks when I bet on them.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the city. I couldn't really debate that.
No, I wouldn't. I couldn't disparage the city because those bastards are mean. They'll come after you. So just talk nice and get the hell out of town.
Yeah, don't make fun of cheesesteaks ever.
Chief steaks? I wouldn't make fun of
cheesesteaks. Like
I eat cheesesteaks.
The difference between a hoagie and a sub.
A what? A sub?
Yeah.
Kansas City cheapsteaks.
Yeah. Well, Andy Reid had 3 of them when he came to Philadelphia for the first time, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
Was that
it's a damn shame. How many championships? How many Super Bowl rings does Philly have if they keep Andy Reid? I'm thinking probably a couple. Yeah.
Well, they certainly have more than what they have now.
I'm thinking a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything going well over there at Wager Talk for you, Tony Finn?
I'm plead the fifth. The fifth.
Okay.
You know that. Yeah. No, of course it's wonderful. I woke up this morning. I went to work. I met the beautiful people that are a reflection and representatives of the Wager Talk organization, and it's almost um, it's just a big it's a big party, and everyone singing come by come by. Yeah, I just it's a beautiful thing. Let's go. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna have to sign out. I gotta get back to work because I just miss them already.
I've never seen you cry, Tony Finn.
Cry?
I've never seen you sob like this.
Well, you haven't seen some of the bad beats I've taken over the years. You would have said, "Oh, I saw Tony Finn cry. I saw him cry."
I would pay admission to see that. I mean, that'd be a great Las Vegas show.
Well, the mind, the body, the soul needs a cleansing periodically, right? And I don't know anything better than a bottle of mezcal, some Pablo, and some smelling salts. That will do the trick, baby.
Yeah, I won't try that anytime soon.
Well,
but
I'm not suggesting you try it. I'm just telling you. I'm just kind of sharing my experiences.
Yeah, as long as they're not graphic. Those are the ones that
I have a way. I'm not. I don't think I'm Hemingway. I'm not even Hemingway's like red-headed stepchild, but I can make him graphic.
I think we should move on to Juan Soto.
Yeah,
I know you guys talk to a lot of beat writers, and you must know something that's going on.
I do.
I did say I emphasized the rumor so I could avoid the drive-bys on Twitter that Torres, a second baseman, was involved in a offer sheet to Washington. And for those that don't know, Torres is on the Yankees second baseman, and there was 5 other players on there, of which I believe his last name is pronounced Volpe, their number one
prospect.
Yeah. And it wasn't good enough because the Nationals are the only team or franchise in Major League Baseball that doesn't have Volpe as like a top 10 type of prospect. They have him as middle of the road, not Major League Baseball ready. And I thought that was
you can't begrudge him for that. You can't listen. Everybody has an opinion, and right or wrong, it's a God-given right. You can have your own opinion. It's a damn good thing.
I mean, if I'm in a room, Tony, with 30 people, and I'm one of them, and there's 29 of them that's saying the opposite, and I'm the only one that's I take a look at myf and go, maybe I should consider thinking something else.
You just described every day of my life.
Where do you go? Where do you go, John? Listen, don't fall for that.
Yeah, but you don't, John, because you go to your Twitter polls and you go the opposite of where the sentiment is going every single time. So you would be that one guy who believes in what you feel.
If Washington would,
it's harder for me when I'm in person.
McDonald's, they'd all be top 10 prospects.
Who knows where he's going? Nobody knows.
Yeah, that's true.
And listen,
what do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen?
I think he goes to here. He may not even be traded as deadline. Everybody says it's a sure thing. Guess what? I think the Nationals are asking for the moon, and so what they might do is they can still trade him. Find a deal. There's a lot of things that can happen. Obviously, what's he got? 1 more year before he's a free agent? Is he only
23?
3 more years? They control him for 3 years? Well, then a trade can definitely happen. That would prohibit him from being a part of the postseason roster. He's certainly not going to clear waivers unless the team that's on the bottom of the waivers is the one you're talking to. And then say, well, okay, we're going to put him on waivers. You pick him up, bang, bang, boom. This is what's going to happen.
Well, their GM, Mike Rizzo, said this afternoon that unless they get the deal they're looking for, they're going to keep him. And they're going through an ownership change, right? So it's got to be kind of hard. New ownership might have something to say about whether they want Juan Soto or not. Who knows? But yeah, Rizzo said today, if we don't get what we're asking for, then we'll just keep the guy. And that may be what ends up happening. This may be a lot of nothing like the Shohei Ohtani, maybe a lot of nothing
Yeah, I don't. I can imagine. Yeah, you're right. They might keep him. If it's 3 years, I didn't. I thought I don't. For some reason, I thought it was that long. But if they still control him for 3 years, then they offered him. I thought they made him a fair offer, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I think
You
he
know what
just
I
wants
you know
out
what I think with
Washington
that.
probably.
I think what Soto did, and maybe his agent had something to do with it.
Who's that? Which
Just
is his agent? I've forgotten.
I think it's Scott Boras, isn't it?
Oh well, if it's Boris, then Rosenthal, then
I'm pretty sure it's him. I could be wrong, but if you're put yourself in Juan Soto's shoes, you're 23 years old, and of course you want to, make the Hall of Fame. That would be nice, but you also want to win some world championships. With the
uh,
ownership change inevitable, you have no clue as a 23-year-old what that organization is going to do, and I
well, if
think
you want to
that's
win,
why
you
he
want to win
declined
world
it.
championships. Where are you going to go? Certainly, it's not Philly. It's certainly not staying at Washington. If I want to win a world championship, first thing, I'm probably not going. How many? Who's the most? The
The
Angels year in
Dodgers.
and year out. How does Mike Trout and Otani? How are they at the bottom of my better power rankings? I mean, better as in wager, as in
Hmm.
gamer. As in this team is. If you were playing on them in spots where they even were, they just buried you. They've buried you. And Mike Trout's always hurt. I mean, every year, every single year, they come out. Listen, this is Trout's year. This is the Angels' year. Madden's in charge, or whoever the hell it is. There's just some organizations, and the Angels are one of those organizations that I think you guys all know this, and that is they don't want to rebuild. They buy to play. They want ready MLB ready players usually when they reach out and grab or make a trade that said. But if they were to send Otani, and where Mike Trout is in his career, and his Mickey Mantle health, they're rebuilding.
Yep.
They can't get it right, Todd? I mean, since day one, when Artie Moreno came to town and took over
Yeah.
ownership of that team, he wanted to, his goal was to take the back page away from the Dodgers.
Right.
And, it didn't happen then. It hasn't happened since. And they have the same lousy pitching that they've had for the last 5 years and the same lousy bullpen that they've had for the last 5 years. And the Anthony Rendon thing, they paid him a lot of money to sit for like 200 games in 2 years.
Yeah.
And,
well, that was a problem. I didn't like that. I didn't like that free agent move. Not that I don't like Rendon. However, if they're going to spend money, man, they need to spend money on a young, good young left-handed pitcher or hell right-handed. I don't care. I mean, it's a shame though, you guys, when Detmers goes out and throws a no-hitter and you can't even sell him for $5 because everyone else knows that it was a 12 95 mile an hour heaters off the bat that went straight to the defender. And that's what kind of a no hitter it was. You guys saw it, So
Yep.
he has an immaculate inning. What, yesterday? Detmers. Now maybe you might get $2 for him. Nobody wants him.
yeah, I mean, they'll sell Syndergaard. People will come calling for Syndergaard before they come for Detmers.
Without question. Listen, Syndergaard has learned. Listen, he's not he's not Tom Seaver anymore, or it never was. But I'm saying he's learned to spot his fastball and use his changeup a lot better than he ever has. He didn't get back, and he's actually done a good job of staying away from barreling bats and hard contact. Really has. He's not striking out a bunch. I think he struck out 6 or 7 against Kansas City, maybe. But you're certainly not going to play the over 6.5 prop on him. I don't care who the hell he's pitching against.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let me stray for a minute, John, real quick. Let
Okay,
me
go
stray
ahead.
on this Josh Hader thing today.
Yeah.
I see that thing happen,
It was.
and the first thing I think to myself is either they've got a real health concern with this guy, or they just don't want to get in this arbitration. I think he's arbitration eligible at the end of the year. They could probably win, whatever in arbitration. Then they'd have him for another year, and then 2 years from now is going to be the time when they'd have to pay. And maybe the Brewers don't want to pay. But regardless of what their intentions were, it's a guy who's gone out there 37 times this year. 30 of those he's provided scoreless innings. The majority of his bad ERA and his bad stuff is 2 games before the All-Star game, where he gave up, I think, 9 earned runs in an inning or 2/3 of an inning or something crazy in 2 separate outings. Other than that, I mean, he just struck out the side 2 days ago. So I don't know what the health concern could be. And
Did you watch him pitch the last 2 days? Did you watch him pitch against Boston?
I mean, it took 22 pitches to strike 3 guys out. I get it, but he didn't allow a hit, and nobody reached base. And these guys, and even if they want to get rid of him, Tony, even if they do think there's something wrong with him, when your return is Taylor Rogers, who's supposed to be a closer, San Diego traded for him to start the season, and he's gone out there his last 11 times. He's given up a run, at least 1 run in 8 of them. This guy's a disaster at the back end of the Padres bullpen for about 5 weeks now. So that's what you get back, plus 3 prospects that the Padres are clapping their hands over because they still have plenty of prospects left, good ones, to trade for Juan Soto.
Yes, so none of those prospects, none of those.
They get enough.
You're right.
It just seemed like the trade was light on the Brewers' end. I thought the Brewers were kind of crazy for selling that low, even if they think Hader has problems right now. But it's certainly, and we talk about a trade deadline, what the dugout might feel like. What do you think the dugout feels like when they let go of Josh Hader? I mean,
well, if they had money, if they had $100,000 on these 2 last games in Boston, and they saw Hader go out there and go ball 3-0, both the first 2 batters about. Listen, sons of bitch, just throw it over the. Oh my God, he's been one of those. It's like walking on tight wire with 3 rolls of quarters in your right pocket, and you don't have a bar to keep back. It's just ridiculous walking that kind of rope. Holy, killing me. It's Jansen. It's those closers. It's those cardiac closers that just kill. Just for guys like us who are kind of have our. No, I'm not saying we have the mortgage on the game but our livelihood reputation. It's like. Can you just give me, Lord, give me 1, 2, 3, bottom of the 9th, just 1 in 300 games this year, just 1. Never, no. You will pay. It comes around full circle, Mr. Finn. You're going to pay a little bit right now.
And these problems are recent, right? Like I say, he's been called out there 37 times, 30 scoreless outings. So it's, I don't know what's wrong with him. And I don't know, Milwaukee is an organization that generally doesn't want to cough up big money. And maybe they think Devin Williams is the heir apparent, and that's fine. And just the take back seems to stink. In my mind, Taylor Rogers doesn't help them make the playoffs, I don't think.
No, they're going to win that division. They're going to win that right now as is. I think they win that division. I don't care what St. Louis does. St. Louis can go get, they can go get who they get. Who were the 2 guys they got last year? No, yeah, they really walked. They really stepped out last year and picked up. I think Big Ben. Big Ben went to. They got Big Ben from Pittsburgh to be throw out the first pitch of every game, then send him ass down. And then who else they? Yeah, right. That's who they got. And who else they get from the Nationals? What's his name? Cub Nationals. Forgot his name already. He's retired less than 6 months. Come on, help me.
Wow.
I know who you're talking about.
Forgot his name.
I know who you're talking about. He looks like Johnny Damon, but he's not.
The left-hander can't throw to first base. Hiccups. All right, never mind then. I'll look it up. I wasn't going to do this. I don't want this noise coming to the system. Johnny.
I have a question for Jesse Schule, and then we can all answer this. Are you buying or selling the Baltimore Orioles to be a playoff team? I am buying. And I'll tell you why. Real quickly, I'll tell you why. They have an excellent bullpen whip. And I'm not talking what you use on a bull or something like that. Walks in hits plus innings pitched for those that are new to the term. They are ranked 5th in Major League Baseball for the season. When you get into August 1 and the rest of the season, this becomes really, really damn important. And when you're going up against a team like they're playing tonight that does not have a very good bullpen whip, it sets up a betting opportunity, in my humble opinion. But I think the chemistry in that Orioles locker room, clubhouse, is probably among the best in baseball. And they just seem to be having fun for the first time in years. And I think they make it. And I seem to be like the only one maybe stupid enough to think that they make it. But I like underdogs. I like it when Penn State kicks the shit out of Ohio State.
Well, John, I just did the
enjoy
full
that.
count show, and myself, Dr. Chuck, and Jeff Michaels are inclined to agree with you. We were all high on the Orioles today, and I mentioned that our colleague Tony Mejia had said on Twitter that he's tempted to. He didn't say he's going to. He said he was tempted to fade the Orioles in every game in the second half. And I replied by saying I would be more inclined to take them on the run line for every game in the second half. Now, I did actually bet against the Orioles when they were playing Tampa Bay because I thought that they had become overvalued. But I guess we have to see what they do at the trade deadline too, because if they get rid of one of their veteran bats, because people are going to want some of those players, then they're a sell. But as is right now, I'm at the price that's currently being offered. I mean, they're a huge underdog today in Texas. At that price, I'm a buyer.
Yeah, the plus 1.5 run line's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. I don't play plus 1.5 run lines. No. Why?
Well, I don't do minus 1.5 home teams.
That's right. I don't do those. I'll do those I'll do that only on my steamer plays, but not singled out. That way. No, it has to be a combination of three different positions. But what I was talking is that Jesse mentioned he thought maybe they're being overvalued. The beautiful thing about Baltimore is this, and that is the strength of this team is their bullpen. Without question, that's their strength of this team. If they're in the game, if they're close, 6th inning on, then there's a pretty good chance that they're going to win or be within that one run, which I just hate. Well, plus 1.5. Trust me, I just hate it. But it's like taking 2.5 points on a team that should be getting 8. I'll take that. I get any points I get right. I like dogs. No, John Lester and Jay Happ. Now those are the two deadline pickups by the St. Louis Cardinals last year that put them over the top. Right? Jesus.
Somehow they did.
What? Well, yeah, they won like 16 games in a row, but John Lester did not win one of them.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They did nothing of consequence, and they still wound up getting there somehow, someway.
Yeah.
That's St. Louis.
I had the under. Good dudes. I had the season total under, and I'd already put a pin to that ticket, put it on the wall in the winning column, and then they go off and run 16 in a row. Give me a really.
All right, so let's finish off on Baltimore real quick. First of all,
okay.
Trey Mancini is the guy that everybody talks about them trade. But other than that, they have no veteran bats. They're not going to lose a veteran bat. This is all kids. Nope. I mean, unless you consider Rougned Odor a guy people want with his 182 average, there's not a veteran bat in that lineup. So they're not trading anything. I don't think, my personal opinion, that they're going to be active whatsoever at the trade deadline. They've got a young nucleus all the way around, and they're just going to run the course and see what happens. And the teams around them, we've already seen Seattle pick up Luis Castillo, right? So activity. Toronto's got more money than God. They'll be active. They usually are. Tampa Bay's trying to be active. You got to climb 6 games to get past Toronto. You got to climb 3.5 to get past Seattle. The team that you could maybe get by is Tampa Bay because they're so banged up. And Shane McClanahan seems to be in a bit of a downslide last couple of starts here. Cleveland is in there with them, but Cleveland's not going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. They're another one that's building with youth.
Yeah.
So, Baltimore's got an opportunity if they can get past Tampa. But I would think Luis Roberts coming back for the White Sox. The White Sox are a team that may also get in this trade deadline stuff. And as much as I can't stand Tony La Russa, the White Sox are.
I'm going to ask you guys, all three, Rob, how many runs
Sure.
a game are they averaging since mid-April? I think it's April 17th. How many runs per game are the White Sox average this year? Offensively.
And I'll give you, I'll say like 4.4.
How about 2.8? How bad
game?
is that? Per game.
Stop it. How do you win
When?
51 games with 2.8 runs per game?
Well, I'm asking you. Can you believe that number? Is that
Well,
accurate?
then you got to play the White Sox because,
you would think.
We'll see. I don't know. Do you guys know about Tim Anderson tonight? I know he appealed that suspension. I'm not,
He just appealed. He's going to listen. He's serving that suspension. I don't know when the 3 games are going to come up, but when is the hearing?
It was supposed to be today.
Oh well,
As
then
early as
he'll
today.
be suspended for the next 3 games. and
so-
listen. He's everything right now to that team. Everything.
And in typical White Sox fashion, as soon as they get everybody back, Luis Robert goes on a 10-day DL with dizziness. So he's not back yet, but he will be back. I just feel like with Dylan Cease at the top of that rotation, when they're whole, they're the better team. But Baltimore's got a lot of climbing to do, John. That's all I'll say. And if you're taking a flyer on them, it's got to be a big plus price for sure.
Yeah.
And you classified it as, maybe I'm stupid. You're not stupid if you take a shot on Baltimore. I, for one, don't think they have enough to get there. You don't know how these young kids are going to react, though, down the stretch when it's time to really win ball games. Are these guys, no names, still going to pitch? Are these kids still going to hit? We don't know the answer to that. So I don't know. It's worth a flyer, but I don't think they'll make it, but it's worth a flyer.
I hate
the big difference.
Go ahead.
The big difference between the White Sox and the Orioles, though, is the Orioles are a plus 150 favorite today, and the White Sox are almost a 2-1. Or sorry, the Orioles are a plus 150 dog, and the White Sox are almost a 2-1 favorite.
They're always heavily priced, right?
So what is that? What's that? That's not really. I'm telling you right now that you're not. The reason White Sox are who they are, where they are, and projected to be who they can be, a big part of it is that AL Central. It's pathetic.
Yeah. Their strength of schedule remaining, Tone, I think, is bottom 3
easy.
in the league. And Baltimore's is going to be way harder than the White Sox is going to be, for sure, as is Tampa's.
Yeah.
So,
but Jesse, listen, you guys are talking about the Baltimore being overvalued. Here's the beautiful thing. When bookmakers set a line, especially in baseball, especially in an era, with a backdrop in an environment where the three most at bats are strikeouts, home runs, and walks. That is a recipe for Baltimore to always have value because they don't have any starting pitching that's going to jump out and be a favorite. Really, I mean, I think they've been a favorite 23 times. I think I looked it up a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to guess they've been a favorite right around 23 or 24 times this year. And in that role, they've been about like anybody else in favorite. Maybe not. Maybe they're not 65-30 like the Yankees are as a favorite, but that's the beautiful thing about the way our books are set up now. Everything 80% of the game is based on starting pitching. So anytime Baltimore faces anyone, even the Royals, they're barely favorites.
It doesn't seem to matter how many games they win. Nobody's believing in Baltimore.
Well, I don't listen. They have some negative regression coming because as good as their bullpen is, they're just not. I mean, again, they're just not the kind of team that I'm going to put a bunch of money on in the middle of September when everybody's and it's still 100 degrees or 95 degrees somewhere, and these kids are playing. They're on 50 or 60 games more than they've ever played in their careers, and it's a tough task, especially in that time of year when it's maybe the toughest handicapping in. Everyone says, "Oh, soccer, this or that." Listen, handicap Major League Baseball in September. And if you're not doing your homework, you don't know what the hell's going on, then you might as well just go ahead and break out the dartboard because it is a bitch.
Yeah, I mean,
I would agree that they have regression coming, but it seems like they're already pricing that. That's already baked into the price, and the price is saying it's like it's already happened, right? So,
well, how come they're $1.50 dogs tonight?
Because John Gray's on fire.
John Gray,
listen,
John
really
Gray.
well.
You know he's picked up 3 miles an hour on his four-seamer.
Somebody should be taking him.
Yeah,
I mean, they played that whole weekend series without Corey Seager. I mean, the Angels stink, but
yeah, there's a bust team for you. Know
How many innings is Brady going to pitch tonight, though?
How many?
I mean, he probably gets 6.
Against Baltimore? Oh, I think he'll get 6. Against Baltimore, he can get 8.
But can the Rangers bullpen finish it off with the other?
No, don't go there because I suffered that 5-run bottom of the 8th the other day. That's 2 5-run innings I've suffered bottom of the 8th, bottom of the 9th last week, and deja vu start. I was like, no.
Yeah, so we turned it into 2 different questions, guys. I think the original question was, will Baltimore make the playoffs? And now we've turned it into, is Baltimore an everyday value?
Right.
Probably
That's 2 different things.
Both of them. Every day it's 2 different. But if you're going to ask me, is this foursome of Wells, Watkins, Austin Voth, and Dean Creamer going to carry you to the playoffs as a starting rotation, then it's not seeing my money. I mean, those guys are not playoff pitchers, none of them. And so, eventually a bullpen gets overworked.
One of those pitchers, Washington, just outright released, and they still kept Corbin. What's that tell you? Right.
Right. So, I mean, a product of why they are where they are is the fact that Boston and Tampa Bay in that division have performed way, way, way below expectations. Otherwise, maybe we're not talking about Baltimore here. But what they've done is good. I mean, let's face it. They blew that thing up. They started with a young core, and it's finally paying some dividends. Rutschman, all these guys, fantastic core. A couple of years from now, they could be real trouble. But
they said, don't forget, they said, and screw Aaron Judge and Stanton. We're going to move the left field wall about 30 feet farther up and screw them. That's it.
But you have to move it 120 feet to stop Aaron Judge from hitting it out of there.
It's Death Valley. I call it the left field Death Valley at Oriole Park.
They've got the excitement, and you can't undersell a bunch of kids that are excited to go out to play every single day. But everyday value and will they make the playoffs, I think, are just 2 different questions.
The only thing they're trading, Jesse, they might trade some Earl Weaver Topps cards. That's about the only thing being traded in that dugout, that organization, I think. They're going to keep. I
mean, Mancini acted the other day as if he knew he's getting traded. It hasn't happened yet, but I mean, that's salute to the crowd. And I'm like, come on, man. Maybe you get to stay.
Well, some. I don't know Mancini that well, but maybe he's just playing to the crowd.
So there you go, John. We covered Baltimore.
We did.
Okay, I'm tired. Can I go?
You did it really well.
I'm tired now.
So the next question is,
you guys
NFL. NFL related. Tampa Bay Bucks and Tom Brady, who's now 75 years old,
it's your favorite
lost
player.
His center.
Yes, he
lost
did.
his center, who had an unreal consecutive games played streak end. Yes,
he has a. Oh, that's it. That's it. I thought you were talking about he had vertigo or something. But go ahead.
Well, I know he might. I don't know.
Sure he is getting up there in age. He is getting up there in age.
Woo! He still throws it on target. I don't think you could probably catch his fastball, Tony Finn.
Whose? Tom Brady's? I can catch his fastball with my teeth.
I mean, the fastball he throws with a football in his hand. I ignored that.
Oh, man.
Those are those shows you see in Vegas. That's why he said it. They have those shows at the circus, and there's somebody takes a bow and arrow, and the guy saves his life by biting the arrow.
Well, I just stuck my head out, and the hit right there just bounced off the arrow. Weird.
Well,
so what are you saying about Tom Brady? What are you saying about Tom Brady? He lost the center. You think that's going to?
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. The kid from Notre Dame is going to take his place, the rookie. And
rookie center in the NFL.
I was thinking too, Leonard Fournette, right? These guys, and now they have Julio Jones there. Why is Julio Jones there? It's not
because he's cheap.
Financial gain.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants him. He wants the ring.
Oh yeah,
Period.
well, yeah. Well, he might be able to get one. It depends. Depending on when he takes all his clothes off, starts running around the field, and leaves the game at halftime or something, he may not get his damn ring.
Hey, John, my mama used to say people in hell want ice water, that don't mean they get it.
What do you say?
Just,
We
he
always
wants a
learn
ring,
something
you know?
on this show.
What he said, Willis?
I have
strokes.
a very unpopular opinion when it comes to Tom Brady. I mean, the guy's 44 years old, and every year, a few of us say, "Oh, he's getting old. He's gonna start to break down." And every year we're wrong. But the majority of the pundits seem to believe that Tom Brady's still the best quarterback in football. He's going to come out. He's going to lead the league in passing again. And it's not a matter of if; it's a matter of when. Because one day, that's going to fall apart. And at 44, he's in uncharted territory. We've never seen anybody in the NFL at 44.
And maybe
lead the league in
until
passing.
you might be right, Jesse. Until they nail him to the cross, he might just be the best
Well,
damn quarterback and forever.
Yeah, well, I know I'm right because
No,
one day it'll happen. I just don't know what day
100.
that's going to be. But I think the Bucks have a lot of problems this year. I honestly do.
I do too.
Leonard Fournette coming to camp 30 pounds overweight is not helping.
Tom
the
Brady
fact-
coming to camp looking like he needed to have 10 or 15 sandwiches. But eat a damn sandwich, Tom. Come on,
The
man.
fact that they got rid of Ronald Jones and sort of handed the position to Fournette, so there's nobody sort of coming up the back end to make him work for the starting job. And Fournette's character, I'm not a big Fournette fan. You look at what happened in college and what happened at Jacksonville. He seems like a guy that's got a pretty big attitude on him, and now he's not fighting for carries anymore. I don't like that whole situation.
I like it. He's not deflating balls, before the games and stuff. So he's okay with me.
How do you beat Tom Brady, though? You got to bring pressure
Take
up
him off.
the middle.
Take him off his X. Take him off his X. That's right.
Well,
that's all. That's how you beat
You
Brady.
got to get in his face, and you can't do that from the perimeter because he gets rid of it in 1.9 seconds.
Well, you can't stop anybody that gets rid of it. You can't even stop Big Ben throwing left-handed in 1.6 seconds. I mean, that's what Pittsburgh did the last 2 years is they set their offense up where they threw the ball in less than 2 seconds. I think Juju's going to have a big year. I think he'll have a fairly big year with Mahomes and no Hill because he actually has a quarterback that can move and throw. He's better outside the pocket than he is inside the pocket. So Juju's going to be able to get downfield, right?
So buying or selling this? This is
okay.
I added this topic just now. I just want to see what you guys say, and it's not Philadelphia Homer session for the show. Jalen Hurts MVP at 20-1 now. It was 50-1 like 3 months ago.
That Philadelphia water. What the hell is in that Philadelphia water?
Is the market right or is it wrong?
On MVP?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll book it. Don't anybody wants to play that, I will book it right the hell now.
Well, what I'm thinking is that at Bet365 that Jesse uses and BetMGM that I use, you can make that bet and say the Eagles get out to a 5-1 start, and Jalen's using his legs to score TDs, move the chains, looking like a team leader. It's going to be 8-1, and they're going to buy it back from you.
Well, listen. They're gonna. I think they'll score some points. I think he might have a good season because do they have anybody that's going to be even get a vote for the Pro Bowl on the defense side of that ball?
Probably not.
They're going to have to score some points.
That's a great point. They're still weak in the middle of the field. They can't cover tight ends.
No, I'm telling you, they're going to have to listen. That may be maybe that's part of the equation why they run the football so much too. And if they're running the balls, if they run the ball the percentage they ran last year, it's pretty tough to be MVP as a quarterback. In this environment, right? You got to throw the ball for 5,000 yards to be the damn MVP, right?
Yep.
Here's the problem defensively, Tone, with what's being reported after practice here in Philadelphia is that their DC, Jonathan Gannon, wants to turn this team into a 3-4 defense rather than a 4-3. Okay. And I don't think he wants to turn it into 3-4. I think he wants to be multiple, able to switch on everything. So they did, to me, I'll go a little different route because I think their linebacking core has been god-awful for the last 3 years. But they made some improvements to this linebacking core. And now Nakobe Dean probably can't play right off the bat, the kid from Georgia, but Hassan Reddick comes over from Arizona. And the problem with their reporting now is that Hassan Reddick in a 3-4 as an outside linebacker looks absolutely miserable in pass coverage. And they should be playing 4-3 and let him play stand. The middle's going to be anchored. Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox, again, you're not going to be able to run on Philadelphia. And the defensive secondary is better than it's been the last couple of years.
Okay. But
John, to your point, Jalen Hurts for Jalen Hurts to go down to 8-1. Here's what's got to happen after 6 games or after 5 games. Dak Prescott has to stink. Matthew Stafford has to stink. Tom Brady has to stink. All these guys, Aaron Rodgers has to stink for money to come in on Jalen Hurts. So I don't know that you have to be fearful. Oh my God, I have to bet Jalen Hurts today because God forbid they go 5-0, and then I'm not going to get this price. There's so many people ahead of him that, if Green Bay, without their receivers, if Rodgers winds up, and I think Green Bay's going to, I downgraded him my power ratings. Believe me, I don't think he's going to be what he's been with this crew of receivers. But if he is, if Brady does, and Brady's getting his receivers back, right? We talked about the offensive line problems, but the guys that were hurt, Godwin and them are back. And Prescott over there, if the Amari Cooper loss doesn't bother them, there's a lot that goes into it. I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of guys ahead of him right now. I think if you, 20-1 is not going to turn into 8-1. I guess that's my point here. 20-1, I don't think will turn into 8-1, and then back to Brady real fast. Losing Ryan Jensen is a big deal. It's a big deal, right? The center, you're going to have a rookie calling out every blitz, everything. And to your point, John,
I better have a lot. I better have Quaaludes and a lot of them.
Yeah, it's hard on a rookie to be the signal caller for the offensive line. So that's going to take some time. And to the point of the way to get to Tom Brady is to get him up the middle, which is absolutely 100% true. But the problem is maybe there's 4 teams in the NFL capable of getting to a quarterback up the middle without being fancy with blitzes and everything else. And if you start blitzing Brady, he probably knows before the snap where the ball's supposed to go, and you don't get him anyway. So the amount of teams that can actually pressure up the middle without having to get creative are few and far between. And that's, his smarts puts him ahead of the game, right? But the center loss, Jensen's a big deal. There's no question it's a big deal.
Do you think it's possible that Brady will call the blocking assignments, when he sees a robber on the other side?
I guarantee.
That's what I was thinking.
He and that center might be having lunch and dinner for the next, 40 days till the center gets
not unless the center's adequate. Because if he's not, listen, Brady will make him bring him dinner from somewhere and belittle him to no end, thinking that it worked in the past, it'll work again,
Well, he'll probably say, if you wouldn't have gone to Notre Dame, you'd be a hell of a lot better than you are now.
Brady? I don't know. Brady maybe might say that, but I don't think so.
He's a Michigan guy, I don't think Michigan and Notre Dame really kind of care for each other.
If you look at him, I'm looking real quick. The right side of their line, Shaq Mason is a guy he played with in New England at guard, so he knows him. And Tristan Wirfs, the tackle, is borders on all pro, the kid from Iowa a couple of years ago. So the right side is the strong side. But I don't know. He can't change signal callers. The center's got to be that guy, and he's going to have to learn during training camp real quick blocking assignments, because although it's veteran, Donovan Smith at left tackle, he's veteran.
Jeff Saturday's a free agent.
Well, I thought joking around, though, I thought of that with Peyton Manning as a similar situation with Jensen and Brady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's pretty similar, except that Brady's arm is a million times stronger than Peyton Manning's was. Peyton Manning couldn't even throw a screen pass that last year.
Yes, well, that's for sure.
People don't realize that a screen pass is actually like a 30-yard throw. And sometimes it can even be a little bit longer. And it's got to be thrown hard.
With proper touch.
Yeah,
touch.
Either way. Different kinds of screens,
pass
right?
It's not a simple throw.
Let's go. Let's call Marv Levy. You start running the
K-gun.
The
we'll
K
start running that T offense. The wishbone, the hybrid. Start running that damn offense.
Let's call Sid Gilman. Get John Hadel out there.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now we covered Tampa Bay. How about this? Let me ask you this, John, because last time I think I was on with you, we were talking about the Cleveland Browns and what their season over-under total would be. And I saw today that thing got posted at 9.5. Are they a 9-8 team with Watson on?
I'm under.
You have to be under, right?
Yep.
I do. Deshaun Watson is he's still going to miss 6 games, and
right.
He just never played with these guys, and so that's probably worth another 2. So he's going to have to win 9.5 games in the last 9 games of the season. I don't think he can do it.
Yeah. So is he an MVP candidate if he pulls it off?
Pull what off?
If he would win 10 games.
For the girls, for the cheerleaders, get some more charges? I don't think so.
I mean, hypothetically, it's not likely to happen. What if he goes 8-2?
Who?
Yeah, no.
Jackson.
Valid.
And they win the division,
Watson?
and they have
Watson.
I'm sorry, Watson.
That's okay. Well, then if he goes 8-2, well, that would make them 8-9 on the season.
So you give
no faith in Jacoby Brissett. No faith.
Yeah.
He's 0-7. He's going to take over when they're 0-7. You go 8-2.
So you're saying Brissett is basically a chair?
Well, I don't know if I'm being that kind to him.
Well, with all the hate that Baker Mayfield gets, you look at the games they won with him last year, and then you look at their schedule. All they got to do to win 3 of those 6 games is beat Carolina on the road, the Jets at home, and Atlanta on the road. Yeah. So can they do that with Jacoby Brissett? Can they beat Carolina on the road?
Well, I think the 4 of us can beat Carolina on the road.
That's what I mean. So if they can do that, they're 3-3, and they get Watson back.
Oh,
and I tell you the truth, Jesse, to add to that, they could probably beat Pittsburgh at home because who knows who Pittsburgh's quarterback is going to be, right? Is it Kenny Pickett? Is it Mason Rudolph? I mean, they got their own issues.
And are any of them better than Jacoby Brissett? And Pittsburgh doesn't have the offensive line that Cleveland has.
No.
They don't have the overall personnel that Cleveland has, for sure.
Deshaun Watson, if they can block and defend and bend don't break, they can run teams to death.
Right. Well, that's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can hand it off and shorten games, and you've got those defensive ends. I think Garrett on one side, and now Clowney signed. He's on the other side.
They got players. No question.
They got players.
Well, again, it's the same thing. Unless they police themselves and they're able to coach themselves, like the Dodgers do, and overcome Dave Roberts, then maybe they can do something.
Well, the counterpoint to what Jesse just laid out there, how soft the early schedule is for the backup quarterback. When Watson comes back, he's thrown into the fire. All the important divisional games happen in 2 against Cincinnati, 2 against Baltimore. You got to play New Orleans.
Let me ask
you got to play Tampa Bay. You got to play Buffalo. You think he's going to step right in and win 7 games? Or
does it matter? Does it matter that it's going to be a year and a half he hasn't played? Does anybody think that matters? It's going to be almost a year and a half since he's had any real contact. I do too.
I think it matters as much as the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles don't have contact and Jalen Hurts won't get real snaps until they're in Detroit.
You've been listening, huh, John?
Are you?
Well, they've been riding Sirianni for these soft practices here. That's what I was saying to John. Been listening because the talk radio here has been right up his behind for 58 minutes of no contact. All these kind of like what Chip Kelly ran. Chip Kelly with the fruit shakes and all this other stuff. And a couple of radio show hosts aren't buying it here, especially John Ritchie was a former fullback with a few teams, right? John Ritchie was when fullbacks played, and he's a commentator or an analyst here now on Morning Talk Radio. And I mean, he was beside himself when they went
That's what
58
I
minutes
heard.
off the other day. He was absolutely beside himself. So we'll see. I mean, some philosophies work, some don't. But the opposite of that was in Philadelphia here, guys. They played Dan Campbell for the Lions before the Lions hit the practice field, talking about how they were going to hit from 10 to 12, and then they were going to take a break, and they were going to come back and hit from 3 to 5 or whatever. And Richie was all over that. So different philosophies across the league.
Well, the Dick Vermeil era was legendary for these 3-a-day practices, full pads. Just watch the movie. Watch the movie Invincible.
Yeah, well, the collective bargaining agreement doesn't allow that anymore.
Yeah, well, it was pretty dangerous to do in hindsight. I mean, we as human beings didn't know that 90-degree heat with pads on 3 times a day could injure somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Corey
It's about being
Stringer,
tough.
didn't Corey Stringer die on the field of heat exhaustion, I think, for the Vikings? So, yeah, no, it's no joke. I mean, like I say, different philosophies for different guys. But
you need reps. You need
that was Richie's point.
Reps.
Yeah, you need them, don't you? You need them, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I can't go out and shoot 72 in the golf course unless I have reps.
How many games is going to take Deshaun Watson? It's the whole damn season. And Watson he may not perform to a level that he may perform to a level where everyone's talking the same way about Deshaun Watson that they did Baker, except for they're throwing sexual assault jokes inside of the talk of his performance. Not going to be good.
It's tough. I mean, I don't know what the ruling today is. He allowed to practice those 6 weeks with the team, or does he have to stand on the sidelines and watch practice? And not that you can give away first team reps during the season. They're not going to give them away to Deshaun Watson.
I don't
He's going to be standing there anyway.
I'll tell you what, unless they've changed the bargaining, I'll look it up. Let me just look it up. But I don't think he does. I think that 6 week suspension is unpaid.
It's
they're not in practice. If I'm not mistaken.
He did get a $15 million signing bonus paid to him yesterday.
And real quick, let's go back to Tony Finn's point about Eagles defense and what we were just saying, John. If you're not having live reps and your defense couldn't tackle last year, then you need to have live reps to be able to tackle this year, no matter who you're bringing in. So, I don't know. Maybe the Eagles change it up a little bit, but it doesn't seem like Sirianni is going to change it up. He wasn't talking about planting seeds this year. He's talking about something else. I can't remember now, which was driving people crazy. Philosophical, Tony Sirianni.
If you try not to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. Didn't your football coach tell you that?
It's always the case.
If you hit a guy 50% because you don't want to hurt him or you don't want to hurt yourself, you get hurt. If you go full bore at somebody and unload on them, you're less likely to get hurt.
Their problem nowadays, John, is they've got too much data. And from what I heard, Tony Sirianni's argument is you can practice 2 days and soft tissue injuries increase if you practice the same way on the third day. So that's why they don't do anything on the third day, because there's data out there that says soft tissue injuries increase. I don't know. Sometimes it gets too analytical and too far away from football and the fundamentals. There's got to be a middle ground somewhere.
I don't know if you guys watched the news. There's
data out there.
Recession. There's data out there that'll tell you all sorts of things in current events in the news lately that has been proven untrue through the test of time.
Right.
Well, speaking of test of time,
it's been a rough year for data. Let's put it that way.
If you believe
it's hard to follow it 100%, Jesse. It really is. But these guys get into it. I don't know, these younger coaches.
I mean, billions of years ago, if you believe this, it states that the guy who made the universe and the world did take a day off on the 7th day.
Yes, he did.
So there must have been data back then even to support it.
Listen, that guy was just flat out tired. That guy needed
that guy didn't need no data. That guy made the data himself. He made his own data.
That guy, he deserved a day off, that guy.
And how dare you assume that he was a guy, by the way?
Or that person. I apologize for not using the proper pronoun or whatever it's supposed to be.
This has
Yeah,
gone
yes,
south in a
that's
hurry. It's
true.
time for best bets before we get ourselves in trouble.
Yes,
Right,
here's the
let's not
best
get
bet. I'm
thrown
going to
off
start
the
us
air.
off. We'll go me, Jesse, Finn, and Rob Veno, and we'll call it a show.
Jesse,
You guys are going to
Nice.
love this one.
Jesse Finn.
We'll come-
Pay attention.
Jesse
Nice.
Jackson.
Good combo.
Because Tony Finn's going to love this. He's going to go, oh, my God.
I don't love anything.
All right.
And it doesn't involve McDonald's.
Oh boy.
But the Giants are going to win week 1 at Tennessee. Team has not won its week 1 opener in 4 consecutive seasons. There's actually 5 pathetic teams that can make that claim. The Giants are one of them. The Giants have a new coach. What does he want to do? New culture, new winning attitude.
Under
And the team is priced as a dog. That's all it is. Look at that record. So the Giants can have the lead for the whole game. The fans are going to be going crazy in New York. Tennessee kicks a field goal to win by 2. Giants cover, lose the game.
Wide right.
That's Florida State.
Wide,
see what,
hook left.
What does Jesse Schule have for us for a best bet? He was on the Full Count show today. I'm sure he has something good.
Yeah, I like it, John. I like that Giants. I even say sprinkle a bit on the money line. I'm pretty negative on Tennessee this year. I don't like what I see from them. I don't like the fact that Derrick Henry missed more than half the season last year, came back in the playoffs and wasn't able to be a full go. Their offensive line in shambles. So, yeah, I like that. But for my own best bet, I'm going to talk about the Orioles again. And like I said, the Orioles on the run line with Spencer Watkins, 2-0, 2.65 ERA last 5 starts. Orioles 20-5 in their last 25 against the spread. I know John Gray has been good. He was not good in his last start. And the Rangers, with a losing record, a losing home record, a bad bullpen, priced the way they're priced. I got to go with the value there. Take the Orioles plus 1.5.
I love that bet tonight. I really do. Let's see
Where's
what Mr.
value?
Finn has to say.
Where's value in Major League Baseball? Where's value? What makes value? What signals and introduces and executes value?
I got the answer for that, Tony. When a team puts together a run like the Orioles, goes 20-5 against the spread on the run line, and the price doesn't factor into that, and the price is already baked in. Well, they're not that good, so they did it, but the line didn't move to account for that, right? Like, so the Yankees probably aren't as good as they were in the first half of the Yankees are good. They might be the best, but are they really going to win like 80% of their games or not 85% of their games? They're probably not quite that good. So they're going to have to regress a bit. But the price is already baked in that the Yankees are just unbeatable. So what the Orioles have done is not baked into the price. So therefore there is value. That's
my point to that was wins. Hey, there's no – listen, the team may have value, a game may have value, but if it loses, my clients are saying, listen, fuck your value. Send me winners, bitch. That's what he's saying.
Well, 20 out of the last 25 times, all right?
Yeah, I'm saying what you're saying is this, and I still Baltimore, there's some bad baseball coming from Baltimore in the final 60 games. I promise you, there's going to be some bad baseball. It's because they don't have much depth. They have a good bullpen, but for your bullpen to contribute to victories and to to your bottom line, the situation's got to be right. It has been. Things have been pretty good, but I certainly. You remember what Rob said to you, and that was. Now we're talking about tonight. Tonight, it's okay. Watkins, I can't play. I'm sorry. Listen. You got him. You got the cojones to sit there and. If you have that, sit 9 innings and watch Watkins pitch and hopefully keep you in the game, then and not need medication, I have high praise for you. I need a Quaalude.
I guess my point is let's say the Orioles regress. So they were slightly above 500 for the first half. Let's say they're going to lose 60% of their games in the second half. Is that what you're kind of looking at?
Well, it could be they can win 60% if everything falls perfectly for them, and let's just say Tampa doesn't get anybody healthy and they go on a bad run, or Seattle. Listen, Seattle's very capable. I think Marco Gonzalez tonight, for instance, he's regression. He is negative regression, screaming to get out of Prince Albert's can, screaming. This is a guy that has he's got an ERA that's 1.5, two runs less than his FIP and his expected ERA, and he's in the 1 percentile of fastball velocity. He throws 87 miles an hour, and I'm not. And listen, if you're going to throw batting practice to Judge and that group, then I'm not. I apologize, but I'm all over Judge in that group.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't go with my other free pick for today. But my point was that even with the positive regression, if the price is baked in and they're a huge dog every night and you're getting them plus 1.5, they might lose 60% of their games and still
make money.
Make money if you're taking them plus 1.5. Because even if you lose 60% of their games,
listen, if you can make money, I still think that they're always going to have value because of how I explained to you that the bookmakers are not going to. They have a hard time making them overvalued because they don't have one starting pitching that they can hang their hat on. I mean, they just don't. I mean, I guess if Cuellar was back and Palmer and those guys, then they would be overvalued probably with that batting order, that lineup. But yeah.
What's your free pick?
Whose?
Yours.
I thought Jesse was giving a free pick out.
He finished like half an hour ago.
What are you trying to say? You trying to say I need to take some like Adderall instead of Quaaludes?
I think I'd prefer you on Quaaludes instead of Adderall.
Ooh, listen. I think you're a good judge of character. Damn right you are. Okay, then I'll give a free play out. You want my free play?
Yeah.
I'll go to the Yankees. Well, I used them as an example. Let me go to the Yankees. Let me talk about what the Yankees are. They're overvalued. They're overpriced every single night. They are, yet they are in the top 3, or top 4 of run line return on investments and money line return on investments. They're 22-8 against left-handed starters, 40-13 at Yankee Stadium, 60-35 as favorites. They're missing Stanton, and I don't trust Herman as far as I can throw Jesse. And Jesse's a pretty big boy. However, I certainly do not trust Marco Gonzalez. This guy is this isn't some. There's no. He hasn't taken Alice in Wonderland pill and gotten big and smart and better. He's an implosion waiting to happen. And if there's a team that can light that fuse and keep the lid on as long as they can, so the explosion's even bigger, it'd be the Yankees. Give me the Yankees minus 180. Lay the wood, and turn the TV off and come back 2 hours later. Walk to the window with a strut. Throw your ticket at the rep and say, "Listen, next time I come here and bet a measly $10,000 on the Yankees, you slap me and tell me to bet 20. Would you please? That's all. Go collect my free pick. Yankees minus 180. Herman over Gonzalez.
I love it, especially smacking the face part. That's
smack him in the face and say, "Listen, don't ever let me just bet 10 large. Come on."
Yeah, you gotta have some balls, man. It's called baseball for a reason.
John Ryan's cojones to play Philadelphia quarterback for MVP. Just push that money across the counter without sweating and shaking. And
when it's pizza money, it doesn't require any kahunas.
Well, then that's not really. Listen, see,
I could bet on you to be the MVP for pizza money.
Well, I'll book that too.
Rob Veno, best bet.
The MVP of the show, Tony Finn.
Yep, Rob Veno bringing the anchor to the
Um,
show here.
That too.
All right, so I had to play this just out of sheer principle, because the Twins are going to pitch Aaron Sanchez tonight. Talk about guys that were DFA'd by the Washington Nationals. We talked about Austin Voth earlier. Here's another one. Aaron Sanchez gets a start tonight because Minnesota was a little shorthanded. And he goes up against Tariq Skubal, who there's a few reasons you could play against Skubal here. One is he's had no luck in this ballpark whatsoever, 0-2 with his 6.00 ERA. I want to play first 5 innings over 4 runs here, guys. You got to lay 20 cents to do so. And I'm doing it, Tone, against my overall judgment, because I basically, if I don't know the home plate umpire, I'm usually scared to do this. So I'm going against 2 pitchers here without really knowing who's behind home plate here tonight. But over 4 first 5, Skubal, the 2 times he's pitched in Target Field, after 5 innings, the game totals have been 7 and 11. So certainly he's had his struggles here. I think he's given up 6 both times.
Well,
Aaron, who am I going to ask?
I think you have a hitters. You're going to have a hitter-friendly umpire in Minnesota. Is that something you want? You want a hitter-friendly umpire?
Yeah, that's what we want. I want one.
What if I told you it's going to be Ron Kolpa, who is listen, he's a longtime vet, 400 plus, assignments behind the plate, right? However, he's not a guy that calls a lot of strikes or likes to call a lot of strikes. He's pretty fair. Actually, he's overly fair to the hitters. I think that I just think that Kolpa, you won't get any boost if you look up boosts for Ron Kolpa. On some of these sites that give you boosts for Ks or boosts for base and balls, you'll find Kolpa would have the average pitcher would have less strikeouts and more walks. That would be my opinion. So hitter friendly. I think he's hitter friendly, and so you like Minnesota.
So it helps the play tonight. First 5 over 4 runs.
I agree.
What we wouldn't want is this year's version of Andy Fletcher, who's a walking under. But we'll take Kulpa here in this one. It can only help. Like I say, Sanchez is a guy that Detroit should be able to hit pretty well. I don't even know what type of pitch count he might be on or how many innings he's capable of at this point in time. But he is a guy who walks a lot of hitters throughout his career. So if Kulpa is not calling a lot of strikes here, that could be difficult for Aaron Sanchez. Again, Skubal, a guy, the Twins don't strike out against lefties. They have like the 6th best K percentage against left-handed pitching across Major League Baseball. I think they only strike out 19% of the time against lefties. Okay. So that's another deterrent for Skubal here. Really good Twins lineup. Go ahead, Tom.
Yankees just picked up Montas.
Frankie Montas?
Wow.
Yeah,
and nice pickup.
Yeah, and Trevino from the A's.
Oh, and Lou Trevino. Nice.
Yeah.
So they're out of the sweepstakes for Soto then.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right about that.
Yeah, Yankees are definitely out of it now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not that they needed another home run hitter.
No, they don't.
By the way, Watson's going to sit. He's going to only do 6, I guess, and the evidence was lacking by the judge. Evidence was lacking for an indefinite ban, and I don't think that. I think the NFL is going to probably appeal that, but I don't think they'll win.
I agree.
Because the players' union went for 0 because there's nothing in the collective bargaining. See, that's the problem. You don't know enough to write this stuff into law until it happens. Who the hell knew? You think the NFL had the foresight to know, hey, we're going to have a player one day that's going to run through 87 masseuses in 1 year. Where's the law for that? You can't write that law until one of these guys gives you a reason to write them. So there's nothing in the CBA. That's why the judge was up against it. She really had there's no violence in these things. I mean, the guy just, let's not
most all the grand juries are refused to even press criminal charges against him. So listen, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's probably some smoke, but there's not even enough fire that the grand jury wants to make a name for themselves and go after Deshaun Watson.
So he got 6, and Greg Hardy got 4 for having a gun basically down the throat of his girlfriend. So, for those who are complaining today that Calvin Ridley got 8, you could be right. But in Deshaun Watson's offense, he got more than a guy like Greg Hardy got, more than like a guy like Ray Rice got, Tariq Hill, right? He didn't get as many. Joe Mixon knocked a girl unconscious, just went to the next available university. I mean,
right.
it's the judge was up against it here, I think, just because there's nothing in the bargaining agreement that says what this type of offense, should be, has a suspension for, and gave him 6. What are you going to do? He got 6. So as bettors, now we know where we land. Cleveland 9.5. And John, real quick to finish up, I think the Tigers and Twins are going to go over 4 runs first 5 innings. Got to lay 20 cents to do so.
I'm in. How about you, Johnny? What are you going to lie to us about? Come on, lie to us.
I already gave out the best bet on the New York Giants. It's a pretty big one.
You're going to lie to us about?
Well,
Hey, let me say something in John's defense. He told us that we should bet against the Yankees about a month ago, and he gave his reason. I thought his reason was absolute horse pooey, but
he thought it was horse shit.
Yes,
you talking about the season win total
because they outscored opponents by X amount of runs. But what he was correct. I mean, 5 and 6 since the All-Star break.
Listen,
you're making some pretty good money betting against the Yankees lately.
11 and 10 for the month of July.
As long as John said that, listen, when you have a 12-point game lead, that you're gonna reduce severance. You're gonna reduce. Listen, Nestor's gonna have his innings reduced. When he goes out, he's gonna throw 4 or 5. It doesn't matter what he's at. He's coming out. So is Severini, and Aaron Boone had been really fortunate, hadn't he? Hadn't the Yankees been fortunate until Stanton got hurt? I mean, typically they got 3 or 4 guys on the IL every day.
Yep.
2 years. So,
well, it's why this Montas and Trevino trade was so good, Tony.
Yeah.
Manny wants to go for a walk.
That was Manny.
Is that Manny?
Right, so listen, one of your questions real quick was, will the Braves overtake the Mets? And before we close, I'll just say I don't think they're going to. Anybody else could say Braves. I think the Mets will win the division.
I think they will.
I say no. I would say this. If DeGrom is healthy, comes back and doesn't get injured, no.
And then one last question, yes or no?
Division, they're in trouble.
Atlanta has serious issues with pitchers that can throw a four-seamer about 97, 98 miles an hour or harder, that has 4 inches of movements, which is, let me describe the Mets pitchers. Scherzer, DeGrom. They can't beat them.
Bassett, Walker.
That's right. Can't beat them.
Can they count on DeGrom coming back? I mean,
we're going to find out.
How many times have we seen this with DeGrom, right? I mean, the idea that he's going to come back, go, win 7 or 8 starts without suffering another setback is.
If there is a prop out there that DeGrom's going to make it for the rest of the season, yes or no, I'm all over no.
Yeah, I'm all over no on that.
How careful you think they'll be with him, Tone?
Well,
he's probably got, what's he got, 11 starts? There's 55, 60 games left. He's got about 11 starts.
Yeah, I don't know. I listen, what's the lead right now? What's the Mets have on? Is it 3 or 4? What is it on Atlanta?
They have
I guess I can pull it up, but I thought you guys would know.
Yes, it's exactly 3. It's exactly 3.
Well, I will say this: if every time DeGrom pitches, if that lead increases, won't pitch very much. And now, if it gets down to where they have a 1-game lead and they need DeGrom, then if you're not going to beat, well, here's the deal. Either way, those 2 teams are in the playoffs. It's Philadelphia that is the big question mark. Can Philadelphia catch San Diego? That's the question.
Yeah, what will the Phillies pull off at the trade deadline? It's big news around here. Who knows?
Trading Harper, I think, wasn't it?
Never heard of him.
Well, will Austin Riley? If every month for Austin Riley is like July was, then Atlanta could overtake the Mets. Holy cow!
Yeah. But this team strikes out. This Atlanta team. Listen, they're swinging with launch angle and for the fences, and none of this pussying around with singles and hitting hit against the shift. The open hole and bunting to the left side to get a friggin' bunt single. No, no, no. In fact, you want some evidence that Mad Bum is done?
Mad
He
Bum. All
faced,
right.
yeah, he faced Atlanta, right? And didn't strike an out batter out. No one, you and I, Jesse, right? Every one of us can strike an Atlanta batter out. Just saying.
Jesse, is it time to take us out of here?
Yes, it is, my man. So
I wanted to ask one more question,
Go ahead.
but I'm scared to ask it because there's a couple of us that don't know how to just say yes or no. Can you
I
all
don't-
promise to say yes or no within 3 seconds?
Nope. I don't promise anything. If you promise
Is Aaron
something,
Judge going to break the American League Roger Maris home run record this year?
Yes.
I say yes.
Roger Maris, I don't know who he is. How's that for
All
an
right.
answer?
Well, that's good. You're allowed to say that.
Okay.
Jesse,
what is it, 62?
61.
61. I'm going to say no.
Well, you guys tied. 62 to break it.
He needs 20.
Yeah, he needs 20.
Yeah, that's tough, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Also,
I
I'm
don't know.
gonna-
I don't know
I'm
how
gonna
I
go
can
with
say
him.
no.
I'm going to go with him. But anyway, Jesse, take us out of here.
Yes. Yes.
All right, kids. Remember, bet with your head and not over it. And may all the wins be yours.
Oh,
Fantastic. See you tomorrow.